Behind every record in my collection is a story. This is just one of them. So this is the first video that I'm making about my record collection. And I thought this has to be like a special record. So I figured, hey, what better than the first record I ever bought with my own money? And that record, AL-NAAFIYSH The Soul by Hashim. Now, this record, super dope. But let me tell you something. I bought this with my own money in 1984. And at that time, I was 12 years old. So the thing is, I didn't have any money. This isn't the first record I ever had in my collection. Before I bought this, I think I had like, I don't know, maybe 7 records. But those were like given to me for like, Christmas presents or birthday, stuff like that. But this record, I actually went to the record shop and bought it with my own money. Now, how did that happen? Well, the thing is, at 12 years old, I didn't have an allowance, but I started junior high school and my parents were giving me cash for lunch. So I figured out real quick that if I just eat enough to survive, I would have money left over. So by the end of the week, got enough money to buy a 12-inch single. And the record that I was first on my list to buy was this one right here. Now check this out. We gotta break down the cover, man, because dude, first of all, the record label is called Cutting Records. Now, that's a dope ass name. And the reason why is because cutting is like when they make records, they cut a lacquer. So cutting a record is like a record pressing industry term, cutting a record. And in hip hop, cutting records, that's like the DJs are scratching the records, cutting and scratching, right? So when I saw Cutting Records, I was like, oh man, I connected right away. And not only that, dude, check out the circular saw. Hold on, man, let me put this here. You guys let's see. All right, let's see. Let me get this right here. There we go. So check it out, man. Cutting Records, you see it right there? Dude, look at the circular saw blade on the label. Now, whoever made this record label, whoever designed it, man, this is one of the best I've seen. Still, this record came out 1983, and it still holds up, like, with everything. The music, the presentation, the whole mystique behind the artist's name and the name of the song. Dude, the song is called AL-NAAFIYSH The Soul. Like, dude, what the hell does that mean? And the thing is, we were hearing hip hop music back in the days on like public supported radio stations. And at the university, they had like, student radio. They had like a couple of hip hop shows. So, and these are amateur DJs. So they're just playing like, some are like trying to mix. Others are just playing records and not even talking. So I remember hearing this song on the radio and I was like, oh man, what the heck is this? I gotta have this record. I gotta know what it is. And this record, it's electro music pretty much. And there's a vocoder voice on it. So it sounds like a robot. It's like a total space, futuristic, electro hype, up tempo, electro hip hop record. And so the title of the song, AL-NAAFIYSH, Hashim is saying that, I think, at the beginning of the record, but you can't make out what the hell he's saying. It's not like this song had like a chorus where they're repeating the same thing. You're like, oh yeah, maybe that's the name of the song. Nah, it's like super abstract. And on the flip side of this record, the song starts out with Hashim on the vocoder saying, "It's time." And it's like powerful, man, because the beat drops when he says the word time. So it's like, it's time, and then it drops. And when it drops, man, the beat's hitting, man. And this record just screams battle, dude. Like, think about this record. It's like it was a battle record, not just b-boy battles, but also battle, like DJ battles, because everyone was scratching this record. I mean, that's why, if you notice, I got that cassette sticker in the hole of the record. And for those who don't know about scratching on records and all that stuff, especially back in the days, we had the record, if the hole in the record was too big, the pin on the platter, it wouldn't fit right, and it would cause the record to move from side to side like that. So when you put your hand on the record, you're already trying not to move it too much, because the record, there's a needle on the record which can skip, and if you move the record too much, that needle's going to skip. So it's bad enough you're moving the record forward and backwards, and if the hole is too big, then the record is moving side to side too. It's too much movement. I mean, the record is going to skip, man. So, we try to minimize that, and one thing we came up with was, putting this sticker, which back in the days of cassettes, when you bought blank cassettes to make mixtapes and record music, it always came with a few extra stickers that you could put on the cassette to label your tapes. And that's the perfect thing to use on the record label to cover, to make the hole bigger. And not only that, it also sufficed as a marker. So you would know, you could put 2 copies with the tape in the same position on the label, so you could reference your records, Anyway, man, so needless to say, if you have this record and you're a scratch DJ, or even just like a club DJ mixing and stuff, chances are, man, definitely you had 2 copies. Like, I got 2 copies of this, man. Check it out, dude. See, there you go. One copy in. And everyone's copy of this record, it's like, man, these copies got beat up. I mean, people were practicing with these records. And so before like I said, that one part on the B side where it starts out, it's time. Everyone was scratching that. And even today, you could still hear in when DJs practice, they put out videos and everything. They're still scratching this record. Not this actual record, but the sample from this record that are on these battle records or now like digital files that they trigger. It's these records, man, before the song even played, you would hear this like, and that's because the more you rotate the record, eventually you wear out the groove of the record, and it starts to create static. And people were practicing so much on this record, man. The record starts out with silence, but like I said, if you're rotating the same part of the record over and over again, it builds up all this static, and before the song even starts, it just goes, it's time. And then the record starts, man. It's like, it's hilarious, dude, because that didn't even bother people, because most of the time when they were playing this record, it was during a battle situation, and when you're battling, the quality of the record isn't the biggest thing. I mean, if the DJ is beat juggling or scratching it, cutting it up, it's all about, the skills that the DJ is doing, not so much the condition of the record, because all of these records were fucking, sounded like shit. Excuse my language, but so the thing is, since this was like a practice record, it turned into a practice record. It got to the point where the quality of the record was so terrible that you had to buy another copy or another 2 copies, because you would wear these records out and then you'd have to go buy 2 more. And actually, I explained earlier that this is the first record I bought with my own money, and it was one of the first presses because I bought it during the time it came out when it was still pretty much a new release. But man, I was guilty of that too. I was practicing and my records got shot to hell, and it got to the point where I couldn't even play them anymore. So I had to get new copies. So unfortunately, that record that I bought in 1984, these copies are not first pressings. These are actually, I think they're second or third pressings. This one that I got here. And it says on the run out, let me see. Check this out. On the records, they got this part, just outside the record label. And this one, it says it's still hot in 87 is what it's inscribed right there. And what that means is the DJ or the engineer who was cutting the lacquer of this record, they engrave registration numbers, or I don't know, there's different information that they put on the runoff of the records. And if the artist wants, they could request that you put a message or a shout out or something. And on this record, it says still hot in 87. So this record was obviously pressed in at least 87. I think probably it was, because during that time, if I remember correctly, I started to see a lot of these records, these repressings coming out. And because everyone was wearing the records out. I mean, this record was selling like a new release for a good 10 years, because even in like 1993, I was still hearing DJs using these records to battle and stuff. It's like, and obviously they're wearing them out, so they got to keep buying new copies. And the more turntablism and all that stuff started to get popular, the more DJs were practicing, like intense practicing all day, every day. So obviously they're wearing their records out, and they had to buy more copies, which was, I don't know how many different pressings there are of this record, but it's a lot, man. So anyway, like I was saying, this record was like the battle record because in 1983 when it came out, back in the days when everyone was rocking these, ghetto blasters, cranking up this music in the street, like you could hear this song on almost every box that was out there in the street. This song was being played because people had these radios out on the street because people were looking to battle. It was cool back then because you could be walking, and the sign that you were a b-boy was if you had like a trainer suit on or some kind of like, athletic get up. It was like, oh, this dude's a breaker, or especially if you saw like a gang of fools walking with all this athletic gear on, but they look like they don't play sports. You were like, dude, this is a breaking crew. And so, people would meet in the street spontaneous and start battling. And I seen so many of these battles with this song, AL-NAAFIYSH, The Soul, which was playing on the cassette. Because, like I said, this was the song, man. And the DJs also, whenever there was a DJ who was going to do like a performance in between the show, this record was always on the turntables. 2 copies, dude. So anyway, this record, it's just I don't know what else I could say about this thing, man. It's just a legendary record. And later on, I found out that the name AL-NAAFIYSH, I guess the artist Hashim, I guess he's from New York, and I think he got into the 5% Nation, which is like some kind of subset of the Muslim religion, like a modern version of that or something. And so he took on the name Hashim, which I guess it meant something. That's why he took the name. And so AL-NAAFIYSH, I guess, was under the impression that that meant the soul in like Arabic or something, which I guess I think he got corrected after this record came out, because I guess he wasn't like, 100%, legit. He was like new school 5% Nation kid. And, but by then it was already a record that was out, and, there's no changing it. So, and I don't even know if it's spelt right, but that's the thing that's cool about, independent records and independent artists, is like, there's no, major label backing artists up that are doing research and making sure everything is, legit. Independent artists and labels, they're just putting whatever out. They're putting things out. If something sounds cool and they know it's going to make some money, they just put it out, And so this record, AL-NAAFIYSH the Soul, Hashim, definitely a classic, and I'm glad I got this record. I haven't played this record in, man, decades, at least probably 20 years. I don't think I've played this record, because it's more like a badge of honor to have this record. 2 copies. It just represents the significance of an era where DJs were using 2 copies to battle. Now it's all about, with the MIDI code records and digital files and all that stuff. But anyway, so yeah, that's the record, man. I hope you liked the video. I got more records in the back. I'm gonna just randomly pick records. Some I like, some I don't even know why I have them. But yeah, that's it, man. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video, you can do that. Subscribe if you want. Until then, peace and vinyl.